Broadcasting from Park Avenue West, you're watching WMFD Television, Channel 68.1, Mansfield.
This program discusses sensitive mental health issues, including suicide. Viewer discretion is advised.
Maybe an hour after we got the message that we lost Danny, Danny's sister said to us, we were all crying, and she says, "What do we do? What do we tell people?" And I'm like, "Baby, we got to tell them the truth. This is nothing that can be hidden, because otherwise the suicide will win."
We're not mental health professionals. It's just something that happened to our family. We direct people other places. And most important of all, I think, don't quit. Keep fighting. Keep living. Things will get better.
Hello, and welcome to Sparking the Conversation. We are Jeff and Donna Heck with 33 Forever, and we are here and very excited to be able to bring you weekly half-hour messages, stories, and resources surrounding mental health topics and challenges. Our show's purpose and hope is to provide both information and inspiration, making conversations about mental health the norm.
We have two guests today. One of our guests is returning guest, Mary Kay Pierce, who's the executive director for the past 20 years with the National Alliance of Mental Illness Richland County, otherwise known as Nami Richland County. Our second guest is Officer Mark Perry. Officer Perry has been with the Mansfield Police Department for nearly 15 years, working in patrol as a school resource officer in the major crimes area as a detective, HNT, active shooter, and also, importantly tonight, a CIT instructor. He's also been with the Air Force National Guard for 25 years. Officer Perry is married, and he and his wife have 5 children. Welcome to Sparking the Conversation.
Yes,
Mary
welcome.
Kay, Officer Perry, we appreciate you guys being here tonight. And we're going to be talking this evening, as I mentioned in the intro, about CIT, which stands for what, Mary Kay? What is that?
Crisis Intervention Team is what CIT stands for.
And why don't you tell us, give us a little bit of introduction about what does that mean, what is it, and where did it come from?
So crisis intervention teams actually started in the late 80s from Memphis, Tennessee, actually originated there. And it is actually a collaboration, community collaboration between our mental health agencies, our first responders, law enforcement. It also involves families who have loved ones with mental illness and persons with mental illness, and we all come together for a training to help equip first responders with some extra tools in helping them respond to mental health incidents in the community.
Yeah, great.
Is that how you got in touch with Officer Perry? Is that how your paths crossed?
Yes, we work directly with Mansfield Police Department. CIT was started in our community in 2004. We brought all the community stakeholders together, law enforcement, the mental health board, NAMI, persons with mental illness. We all came together sharing the need to learn more on helping in mental health crises. But Mansfield Police Department has been co-trainer since the very beginning, and Mark has been our co-trainer on the law enforcement side for this training for several years now. So that's how.
Yeah, tell us about that, Officer Perry, if you would. Just give us a little bit of, obviously you've been with the police department for quite a while, but why was CIT something that you decided to get involved in, and then how have you seen it implemented here in Mansfield?
Well, what I enjoy doing is the fact that they go through this 40-hour course. So on Thursday, for about 3 hours, I take everything that they've learned about mental illness and I put it into a law enforcement police officer's perspective. So they're thinking on the terms of de-escalation, of getting them into a better place, also thinking outside the box. So if there's somebody that they were in contact with that's helped them during their last crisis, we can get them involved to get them in a better state than they were before. And then on Friday, I assist with the role plays. So we have actors from the Mansfield Playhouse that volunteer their own time.
Oh.
And so what I do is I critique the law enforcement safety aspect of it. So it makes sure when they respond, they're also thinking about their own safety as well as the safety of the person they're dealing with.
How would somebody get in contact with you, like in a call, in a 911 call or whatever, to alert the person on the other end that, you know, if they didn't come out and say, you know, my daughter has a mental illness, she's got a knife or something, how would you know to go out there? Is that the only way, just by the caller taking the initiative?
Well, when they call 911 and they talk to a dispatcher, they're trained to send a CIT officer to respond there so we can react appropriately and de-escalate it as quickly as possible.
One of the things that I think is important is that the Mansfield Police Department, as well as some other agencies, I know we're going to talk about that in a minute, but I know the Mansfield Police Department has made a very concerted effort to get as many officers that are out on the street to be trained. That's something you guys are really focused on?
Yes, absolutely. And it actually reduces liability for police departments as it's a multi-jurisdictional event because we have members from Ashland County Sheriff's Department, Ashland County Police Department, State Highway Patrols come on in our last one, Belleville, Ontario, dispatchers, hospital security. And it reduces liability because if you can de-escalate an individual versus escalating the situation, you usually have a much safer outcome.
Mary Kay, talk a little bit about the training itself. Officer Perry mentioned 40 hours. That's a tremendous commitment by these law enforcement agencies.
It definitely is. And here in Richland County, we decided every CIT has core elements, and every county runs them a little bit different, but the core elements are all there. In our county, we chose to include 911 dispatch, patrol officers on the street, also corrections officers, also security in the hospital. We all come together for the training. But the training includes days of learning about the diagnosis, learning about medications, learning about suicide prevention, learning, of course, Mark does the whole de-escalation portion too. We also, one of the most important parts of the training is we have a family panel that comes in and also an individual panel. So the officers see the families, they see the person that is now well, so they actually, instead of just seeing them in crisis, they know if they can get them to that next step, get them to medical help, those people can go back to their families, go back to school, go back to their work, and they can see them well. And that really puts a face on mental illness to the officers. And they realize all the families around Mansfield come together and they realize it could be my brother, it could be my spouse that's dealing with this. And I really need to get them to medical help.
Well, it truly impacts the community. And when we come back, we're going to take a break. But when we come back, let's discuss a little bit more about how it helps the community. We'll be back after this message.
If you've been injured, whether personal injury, medical malpractice, or wrongful death, you are not alone.
And you definitely don't have to fight alone. While you focus on recovery, let the Heck Law offices focus on your case.
With over 45 years of combined legal experience, we understand your situation and the entire overwhelming legal process.
With an injury you're already handling too much, let our team be your advocate.
I'm Jeff Heck.
And I'm Jeff Stifler.
We're Mansfield's injury lawyers. Call us today or visit us at hecklawoffices.com.
Hi, I'm Joe Trollian, the Executive Director for the Richland County Mental Health and Recovery Services Board. Addiction to drugs and alcohol create a personal struggle as well as impact those around you. You are not alone. We have many professionals and organizations who care. Reach out for help today. Know it before you need it. Visit know it, the letter B, the number 4, the letter U, needit.com.
Brought to you by the Richland County Mental Health and Recovery Services Board, growing and preserving a legacy of hope and success within our community.
Grease and grime build up in no time. Stop struggling and call the police. The Grease Police, the magic degreaser that cleans almost anything. Grease Police works on nearly all stubborn messes, even ones baked on for years. The secret's the super concentrated formula that emulsifies grease, dirt, and grime on contact. Even restaurant equipment is no match for the power of Grease Police. And it's biodegradable, so you can clean your barbecue grill inside and out. But Grease Police cleans so much more. Everything from scummy tile and grout to brake dust on rims. Even dried-on spray paint comes right off. Call or click now to get a large bottle of concentrated Grease Police with money-back guarantee for just $14.99. Order now and you can double it and get a second bottle. Just pay a separate fee. That's 2 large bottles of concentrated Grease Police with guarantee. Ordered now.
Call 1-800-643-6167 or visit getgreasepolice.com. So call 1-800-643-6167 now.
This program discusses sensitive mental health issues, including suicide. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back to Sparking the Conversation. We're talking tonight with Officer Perry from the Mansfield Police Department and Mary Kay Pierce from Nami, Richland County, and we're talking about crisis intervention teams, which is a collaboration between the mental health system and law enforcement to try to get folks who are having mental health problems, not necessarily in the criminal justice system, but in the mental health treatment system when they're having a problem, and you guys as law enforcement folks have to respond and react. One of the things that I read on the Nami national website as we were kind of preparing for tonight was there are over 2,700 communities nationwide that have some sort of CIT, crisis intervention team, trained folks. I think it's remarkable, just from what you guys said already, how many agencies and organizations here in Richland County we have in our little area. Give us a little bit of background on that, if you would, Mary Kay. Maybe you're the best one to talk about that.
Sure. So ever since we started, all of the police departments in Richland County have been a part of our training, and the sheriff's department here in our county. They have been a part within every class. We contact them and see who would like to be trained. So we have Mansfield PD, Ontario PD, Lexington PD, Shelby PD is part of it, Belleville PD, of course the Richland County Sheriff's Department. We also included Ohio Health Security and Avita Security are part, and also the corrections officers in our Richland County Jail wanted to be a part of it too. So we've had great collaboration. We have trained 585 first responders now in Richland County over the 27 classes.
Tremendous.
And so, again, it's ongoing with transition and retirees in those departments, just continuing the training. So,
Mark, when we talked yesterday, Jeff said we were going to ask you like a start to finish scenario. Give us an idea it can be a made up one or something of what you would do, as soon as somebody lets you know that there's a situation. How do you go about handling it if it was you on the call?
Well, the first thing I do is I get on scene and make sure the scene is safe. And the next thing I do is I try to establish a lot of rapport with the victim. And sometimes it may be a continuous thing, like maybe it's close and I'm starving, I want to go to my lunch break, or it's almost end of my day and I have somewhere to be, but you have to stop and take all the time it takes is necessary to build that rapport. You also don't be afraid to tell them clear boundaries, like this isn't appropriate, or if you don't open the door and you've already said you wanted to kill yourself, I'm going to have to kick it in. And I also reestablish the fact that I want to treat them with the utmost dignity and respect. And then I find out what the problem is. What is the biggest thing that's harming them or frustrating them? Are they hearing voices? Are they just depressed? Have they haven't slept? What I teach other officers, find out what it is. Maybe they haven't slept in days. Maybe they haven't eaten in several days. Hey, I'm going to take you somewhere you're going to be able to get some sleep, you're going to be able to eat, and I'm going to take you there, and I'm going to treat you with the utmost dignity and respect. And oftentimes, I'm not saying it works 100% of the time, but the tools we use oftentimes does work to de-escalate the situation and get them into a better state and get them help. And if that rapport isn't working, I'll have a list of names that have worked for me in the past. Like if I've dealt with that same person several times, maybe there's a pastor, maybe there's a counselor I can call that can respond, that can help with the de-escalation process.
I think that's an important part of this. You talk about the resources and having those resources sort of at your fingertips, and the officers who are involved in this, it's important that they know where they can go for some help, so it's not just on them. So I know you involve some other agencies and organizations and folks in town, right, in this area.
Yes, I also explain to officers in my training that we have options. Sometimes maybe that person doesn't meet the criteria to be pink slipped at the hospital. However, maybe they're not doing real great, so maybe we'll call their counselor to come check on them. Or if with the VA, I have contacts with the VA because I am a veteran.
Right.
Hey, I want to have somebody check on you just to make sure you're doing okay. They also teach follow-up. Follow-up is so important. You can just go to the call and then leave, but you don't know maybe that little follow-up, maybe that what tips them over the edge to actually get the help that they need.
From watching big TV shows on crime, you don't see this. This is incredible in our community, and it's just the utmost respect I have for you for what you do, what your department does. And Mary Kay, for 27 classes, you guys teaching our law enforcement, we appreciate it. We do have to take another break, so when we get back, we'll talk a little bit more to Mary Kay Pierce and Officer Perry.
Right now, get a free sausage McMuffin with egg when you download the McDonald's mobile app.
If we could say one thing to her, I think what we would let her know is how important she was to us.
And I wish that I hadn't been so reluctant to confront him.
Be a friend, listen to him, and get him help.
I am so glad someone reminded me that I'm worth it and will always be worth it.
I'm glad that I have people now that support what I want to do in my dream of helping other people.
We all know that movement is like medicine, but getting the movement you need to feel better can be a challenge. Now you can keep fit while you sit with QB, the world's leading compact seated elliptical. QB gives you active sitting, letting you burn calories and keep moving in an easy and low-impact way, all while you work, read, or watch TV. QB was named a top 10 gift by Time Magazine and has been featured all over the world. It's whisper quiet while it works your abs and core, hip flexors, glutes, quads, hamstrings, and calves.
QB is a lifesaver for me.
Here's your answer to your problem.
I feel young again.
Join the hundreds of thousands of people moving more with QB. Call to find out how to get your QB with free shipping and a 30-day completely risk-free trial. You'll also get this QB workout mat free. Now keep fit while you sit with QB.
To order, call 800-289-5820. That's 800-289-5820. Call now.
Free health care, hundreds to more than $1,000 per month in disability compensation, and tens of thousands for college tuition. Choose VA and see why Veterans Trust in VA reached an all-time high. Claim the benefits you've earned at choose.va.gov.
Welcome back to Sparking the Conversation. We're here with Mary Kay Pierce from Nami, Richland County, and you know, we were talking before we went on the break to Officer Perry a little bit about kind of how he handles a scenario in a situation. Mm-hmm. As you go into one of those things, what is it that you, or really in your day-to-day life as a police officer, what is it that you think about when you interact with somebody?
What I like to think of, and also what I teach all first responders when I teach these courses, is to think that everybody has a story, and remember that. You don't know if that person, father just passed away, if they just got some horrible news that they have cancer. You don't know what they've been through, that maybe their husband or wife just left them. And it's always important to remember, even with addicts, you don't know. It's really easy to say, hey, they're just an addict. You know, they shouldn't have done it. However, maybe they had surgery and they had serious pain medication, and all of a sudden their body just reacted to an addiction. Mm-hmm. That's not their fault. We have to think of it as something might have happened that triggered that. And that makes you treat them a little bit more differently, if that makes more sense.
It does.
Well, and it's a gentle way to approach somebody and not black and white, where you know, society thinks that, like you said, they're an addict, there's a problem, they stole something, they need to go in jail.
You know, when I was a school resource officer, there's times I was assaulted by some of the students. And then once I got them under control, I just talked to them like a human being and said, look, man, what made you want to do this? I care about you still. And believe it or not, that person changed. That's an opportunity to make that change. Yeah. It's not a time to get angry and say, I got you and I'm going to get repercussions. This is a good time. That's a learning time.
I think that's an important perspective right now when sometimes people in your position and your profession are under attack and people don't recognize that the person behind the badge is a human being who's trying to do their best in a situation too. So I appreciate the perspective you bring, Officer Perry, because I think it's really important, not just for Mansfield, but for your profession too. So I give you a lot of credit. Mary Kay, the one thing I really wanted to kind of get with you and talk about before we were done today is tell us a little bit about why the CIT program is so important for the families of Richland County and for Nami Richland County specifically.
It has been so important. My job is to help families recognize signs and symptoms of mental health concerns and help them get resources. But that's sometimes not easy to do. And to watch a family deteriorate before your eyes and not know who to reach for help is really, really hard. And so when a mental health crisis happens, it's so calming to know, and I teach our families that we have first responders that understand about mental health concerns and addiction concerns. They're called CIT officers. So please, when you pick up the phone and call 911 and have to ask, I know for a CIT officer, I know the person responding has that compassion, has that knowledge to work in a mental health situation, and wherever possible, get our loved ones. Our goal is to get them to medical help and not the jail, and whenever that's possible, a CIT officer will try their best to get that loved one to treatment, and I really, really appreciate it. It's been life-saving for us to have the collaboration. It really has.
Yeah, wonderful.
Do you guys have hope for our community for the future in what you're doing right now? Maybe each of you answer individually.
I have great hope for our community. We have a wonderful community in Richland County. Law enforcement, the mental health board, the mental health agencies, and even all our psychiatrists and our mental health people, we're all working together to help loved ones who are in mental health or addiction crisis. We've got a lot of treatment and a lot of help here, and a lot of people who care, and we're grateful for all of them, and so grateful for law enforcement coming alongside us. So
You've probably got a little different perspective, Officer Perry, about the hope for the Mansfield community, Richland County, the North Central Ohio. But what do you think, from your perspective as a CIT trainer, particularly, what that looks like, what the hope looks like?
Well, first of all, I want to say I have hope because my faith in Jesus Christ, who gives us the overwhelming amount of hope and joy. Mm-hmm. Secondly, as I'm striving to be a sergeant in the Mansfield Police Department, I want to be able to touch other officers to do the same things. We have so many awesome police officers in the Mansfield Police Department that truly care and want to see our community do better.
You know, that's, again, a great message. I think it's one of the things that kind of sets this area apart, Mary Kay, and you kind of talked about it, is as small or relatively small as our community is, we have some tremendous resources in the area, and we try to feature those folks on this show as much as we possibly can. We got a lot more to feature. Yes. But, folks like you guys who obviously care about mental health in our community, and folks who are struggling with their mental health in our community, super important. Really appreciate you being here tonight.
Yes. Mary Kay, before we end our show, can you talk a little bit about when you talk about My Families, any classes that Nami does have for people who are struggling or for families? I know they do have it, but if you just share it.
We have support groups and classes for anyone who has a first-degree relative with a mental health issue, with depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, PTSD. They're free 8-week classes. You just contact our office. Those are all free, paid for by the Richland County Mental Health Board, reaching out to families. We know that with education and support, families do well, and our loved ones do well with that support and education as well. So we do have the family-to-family classes, which are awesome.
That is great, because that's where you need to let them know about CIT and who can help them in our community when they have an issue.
Guys, thank you for being with us tonight. We'll be back with our memory moment in just a minute.
Happy anniversary, Mix 106.1. This year, we are celebrating 60 years of Mansfield's best mix, Mix 106.1, and it's all thanks to you. When we shop local, our community thrives, and so do our favorite businesses. So let's shop local first. Thanks for your continued support. Here's to another 60 years of shopping local first.
Everybody has a flashlight, but can your flashlight do this? The Bell & Howell Tactical Flashlight can. The Bell & Howell Tac Light can do things no ordinary flashlight can do. Look, this civilian flashlight puts out pathetic light, but our military-grade Tac Light, that's 22 times as bright. It's so bright, it can be seen up to 2 nautical miles away. Only a Tac Light has a super bright strobe that can stun and disorient would-be attackers. A car battery will stop working in sub-zero temperatures, but even getting frozen in a block of ice couldn't make our Tac Light stop working. It's tough enough to survive getting run over by a Humvee. Try that with a regular flashlight.
you can get a Bell & Howell tack light complete with a lifetime guarantee for just $19.99 plus free shipping. And while supplies last, you can even get a second one. Just pay a separate fee.
To order, call 1-800-371-0080. That's 1-800-371-0080 or go to trytacklight.com.
Good evening again, and welcome back to Sparking the Conversation's Memory Moment. Now, it's 2022.
Amazing.
I
can't believe it.
It went by so quickly.
Oh my gosh.
So New Year's was great, but let's share what we did on Christmas Eve. 33 Forever, we, as a group, we did something last year and we did it again this year.
It was super special, and Don and I think it's really important, and our 33 Forever board does too, and it's an opportunity to really hopefully make somebody's holiday a little better. So at Catalyst Life Services, they have 4 inpatient units where folks are getting mental health treatment and also getting drug and alcohol recovery treatment during that period of time, and they can't be with their families. So we were able to take Christmas Eve dinner to about 40 people at their 4 units there, and
bring them a few little gifts, and actually fed the staff there as well, which was nice.
So it's just a thing that we think hopefully makes somebody's holiday a little better when they can't be with their family and they can't enjoy the holidays like everybody else. So it means a lot to us.
And they're working so hard. We actually got them some T-shirts that say, "Recovery is a beautiful thing."
Yep.
And we want them to wear that as soon as they are released and on their way back into the world and living their good life.
And we got that term from one of our guests here on Sparking the Conversation, who is here and has been through that program. So we just thought it was apropos. We put that on a shirt, and we hope they wear those in good health.
So that's our memory moment, but we're grateful that we could share that with you, and we're so glad that we were able to share tonight with you again. Make sure you come back next week, same time, when we have another guest on Sparking the Conversation.